I go again on my own. Going down the only road I've ever known. Like a drifter, I was meant to ride alone. I don't know these words, so I'm gonna stop. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. All right. First time here, stay a bit. Maybe I'll say something that makes you go, maybe just a little bit. That's the best you can hope for in a podcast, is that you get a listener to just go and just fucking go about their day. Maybe you're washing your car. Maybe you're doing some chores. Maybe you're on the verge of self-harm and you're like, Evan better get me through it. And listen, brother, sister, whatever you are, I'll get you through it. Okay. I'll get you through it. Already panicking, stuttering. Let's friggin' go. All right. Welcome to 7 Minutes in Evan. 7 minutes in Evan. It's not 7 with Evan. It's 7 in Evan. You're inside of me. Let that clear up all the confusion on the name. All right. Because there has not been a comic introduced more with their podcast said wrong than me on stage. All right. Sometimes here's how the sausage is made. Sometimes when you're getting introduced on stage as a comedian, the host will ask, is there any credits? Anything you want me to say? And I'll go, it's fine. Usually I'm just like, you just say whatever you want. And which I like. I like sometimes when a host just makes shit up. They're like, you can see this person performing all over at SeaWorlds. It's just great. Gives me something to riff on. Sometimes it's weird, but that's the name of the sauce, baby. But sometimes they'll be like, do you have a podcast, or what's the name of your podcast? And I'll be like, oh, it's 7 Minutes in Evan. And they go, okay, cool. Walk on stage. First thing said, ladies and gentlemen, you guys are going to like this comedian. He has a podcast, 7 Minutes in Heaven, with Evan Lopez. And then it's like, oh, cool. You have now made me seem like a douchebag who has the podcast title 7 Minutes in Heaven. In heaven. What do I have? A Christian teen podcast? Okay, where I just want to rap with the kids? 7 Minutes in Heaven. Hey, y'all, don't masturbate. What do you think No, this isn't the place. And then if it's 7 Minutes with Evan, feels like it's just different. Okay, 7 Minutes with Evan. They're never going to be able to Google it. They're going to type in 7 Minutes with Evan, and they're going to get a Christian pastor on his podcast. Thank you for spending 7 minutes with me. Now, I want you inside of me, okay? Because that's what this podcast is all about. 7 Minutes in Evan. All right, is it 7 minutes long? No, all right? But it was the first name we thought of. Moving on. Another one that it's a rough start to a show, and it makes me go into other material. I did a mini special thing with, it's about 15 minutes with OnlyFans. I never once got nude, okay? I never once did anything other than sling giggles for them. You can still go find me on OnlyFans. It's only jokes. It's only what I put on Instagram. And I did, it was a very cool thing. I loved it with some other hilarious Texas comics. We did the Austin episode on OFTV. So it's connected to OnlyFans, but not, it's a, what they call family friendly or work friendly page called OFTV. They're trying to have more mainstream streaming. And I did a mini special with them. And with that connotation, I will get introduced on stage sometimes of, all right, you guys can see this guy on OnlyFans. And bless any host's heart who has done the research and saw that I did something on OnlyFans with comedy. But it just like, okay, well, now I have to address this. Because if I don't say anything, everybody's like, oh, this guy jacks off on paper plates on OnlyFans. That's just what I would assume is a market for a guy like me. I can't get away with just feet pics on OnlyFans. All right. I gotta get dirty. I gotta get grizzly. All right. Cause I feel like the demand is not there and the supply is a lot for guys on OnlyFans. Like there's a reason why it works for women. Women are hot and in demand. All right. And it's just, there's a demand for that market, but I can't like, you ever hear people with I am guilty of this too, but they do the what ifs. How much money would it take for you to suck a dick? There's people whose number is 1.5 million. Brother, there are people out there in them streets that'll pay a couple Abraham Lincolns just to get the opportunity. All right, listen, no one's hurting for you to suck a dick for 1.5 million. All right, it is what it is out there in the streets. There's a supply and a demand, and you just got to know what that supply and demand is and adjust your product, baby. Okay. But all that to be said, it was always interesting being introduced. As you guys can see, I'm on OnlyFans, Evan Lopez. And then I got to go on there and I got to go, listen, I did comedy on OnlyFans. OFTV, you guys check it out. Never showed my feet once, okay? Did the crowd ever believe it? No. They're like, no, this dude's still jacking off on styrofoam cups. I think if you jacked off in a styrofoam cup, you would feel pretty bad about yourself. Like, you'd realize pretty quick how little you could fill up a styrofoam cup. Like when dudes are like, I'm tossing ropes, I'm slinging buckets. Bro. Teaspoon at best. Okay, that's what some of you dudes, it's the overcompensation. It's actually a weird move when people are like, dude, I got fucking ropes. Or when they're just bragging about shit that you're like, what are you talking about? You're overcompensating. You're a quarter teaspoon at best. Who came up with that metric of teaspoons and tablespoons? Who? I feel like there should be an unspoken rule that if you use an actual spoon, that should be a tablespoon or a teaspoon. It's a weird metric to decide how we do it. Okay. It's confusing. I was never good at that. That's the kind of shit that you can miss me with. Okay, homeschool kid. I've dove into my past and my life growing up. A hedonistic, feral lifestyle is what I grew up in. Okay, I spent most of my childhood destroying anthills in the backyard while y'all were learning who the U.S. presidents were. All right, I was out here gaining fucking life skills. All right, you want to know something? I don't pay a exterminator, pest control to come to my house. When those people come to my house and they try to sell me on it, I go, hey, listen, buddy, come here real quick. Come here, come a little closer. I'm a little, I can't see you, okay? And then this pest control person, they feel like there's a werewolf in the room. They're like, something is afoot. They get a real Little Red Riding Hood vibe. And I grab them by the scruff of their neck and I say, do you know who the fuck you're talking to? You're going to offer to take care of my pests? You think darkness is your ally. I was born in it. I've been killing wasps since before I could walk. Ugh. Ugh. You know how I be killing wasps out here? With my hands. I've been backhanding them, these motherfuckers. Okay, and listen, if you were around early 2021, the great getting bullied by a wasp saga, those days are over. Those days are over. I run these streets. Y'all just live here. Okay? That's how it is now with these Texas wasp. These big red wasp that they got, these hornets, dude, all show. All right? Because guess what? If it can bleed, we can kill it. All right? And that's what I've realized. From the moment I was getting bullied, listen, a bully might get me once, twice. But it's something in me that I'm like, I shall rise up again from the ashes. All right. And that's what happened. These wasps, they were intimidating at first. And now I'm taking out bloodlines. Apocalypse now with these fire ants in the backyard. Because you know what? Your boy, I'll never claim to be very smart. Okay. But I'm a survivor. All right. Listen, I'm a goddamn vasectomy, baby. I've been surviving since before I even started day one. All right. I was already in the trenches. Parents thought they weren't going to have another goddamn kid. Well, guess what, hotshot? I was in there. All right, reconnecting wires. I made it through army crawling. I found the egg, kicked the fucking door in. I'm coming home. I'm coming home. Told my parents, said, hey, hope y'all like poverty because y'all about to have some financial decisions to make. All right. Hey, future siblings, not everybody's going to a private school anymore. All right. Hey, we're not all going to get to do childhood sports. Backfired a bit because by the time I got out, I was just like, you just got to do what everybody else is doing. All right. My older brother got to be a Boy Scout. Guess what I got? I got to wear a Boy Scout uniform from the thrift store and hang out in the backyard. All right. A little bit of stolen valor on my side, but hey, it is what it is. Walking around the neighborhood in a Boy Scout shirt. I'm surprised I didn't end up on World Star Hip Hop of someone just outing me, being like, say the fucking Scout's oath. And I'll be like, a Scout is, and just throw a handful of ants at them. Okay. That's what you call a tangent right there. I got lost in the darkness on that one. I blacked out. I don't even know what I was saying. No, I grew up crazy, and I didn't have time to be learning tablespoons and teaspoons. And don't even ask me. I think it's 4 quarts go in a gallon of milk. I think that's the only one I really know, and I could be wrong. There's 8 cups in a liter, a quart. That's where they started getting me fucked up. Is why do I need these liters and quarts? And it all got messed up. All right, I know what is a gallon, 128 ounces. Okay, I'm not drinking milk anymore. All right, it is what it is. But yeah, I don't deal with the pest control out here. I don't need it. I am pest control. All right. At the end of the day, I am pest control. And what I've also realized, so I've been watching this. I realize I'm a basic man at the end of the day. Okay, and that's fine, and I'm happy with it. I've been having a lot of wake up moments in my life. And this is what is so dope about life. If you're, I mainly have a demographic of the podcast where it's 19 to 35-year-old men. Okay. So we're in that 20 to 25-year-old stage of listeners. Young kings. Okay, listen. My life has been a progression where it gets better and better for my mind. I was someone early on, dealt with some shit, but like, as everyone does, you either deal with it later in life or you deal with it early. And sometimes you have that shit happen and you don't realize it. And then you have to deal with it when you're older. You have to start. It's like, you ever been fishing and it's like, hey, you got some, your line all tangled up and you're like, well, maybe I can keep fishing with it. There's going to be a moment you're going to have to sit down and you're going to have to start taking apart that fishing line. All right. And that's what happens. And to the young kings, the point I'm making is life gets doper and doper as you get older. Don't try to resist growing up. Don't try to keep with the things that you've always were comfort, whether that's drinking, smoking, going out partying, girls. I'm someone, who for years and years, women were a distraction from like dealing with shit where it was like, yo, this is all I care about. It was always just this and that and just having fun. All that shit's waiting in the darkness that you got to deal with. The fulfillment and everything. It's all these like dopamine hits. I feel like, social media is that. I feel like just short form validation. As you get older, as you move on through life and you start caring, the biggest thing that you can do is start caring less and less what people think of your life, of caring what strangers think, of caring, of doing anything other than what you want to do for any reason. We almost get brainwashed by society that you got to do this. Oh, the hustle. Oh, this. And comparison is the thief of joy. It's so fucking true. But like, you have to get to a point where you realize the only people that really matter are those who are closest to you. The people that, are how you make people feel when you're around them, how you can be of service to other people. I feel like that's one of the most rewarding things is finding a way to help others. Makes you feel great, makes them feel great. You're helping move the world along. And when you die, it's only those people who care. And they might only care for a little bit. And that's fine. And people outside your family and those who are closest to you, because I have friends that are for sure like family. It's like, I just realized that this is something very recent, that just build out your own life with what you enjoy the most, and people will enjoy that. Sometimes it's easy, particularly with like, I don't always want to talk about stand-up on here because I feel like I limit the relatability of it by, I don't want to just be another podcast that talks about the process of stand-up when I'm really not even an authority in it at all. But the relatability, there is a feeling of always trying to progress in it. And I think this goes with every walk of life, I think it's broader than that. I think it's a trap that we all get caught on, is looking at what works for other people and what they're doing. And, even when you get older, you go, I got to get a house. I got to get a car. I got to do this. I have to get a great job. I have to do all these things because you think that's what you're supposed to do. And that is what is success according to other people and society and all these things that you're supposed to be doing. And I feel like it's a trap, because if it wasn't, I feel like the divorce rate wouldn't be so high. I feel like depression wouldn't be so high. I feel like the way people cope with so much stuff wouldn't be so high. I feel like, there's so much that people are doing that is a byproduct of not doing what they enjoy, whether that's hobbies, whether that's, traps of society. So now they're working a job that they can't get away from. I feel like that's the number one thing I would tell a younger person, is don't get caught up in chasing things that become traps, like the golden handcuffs. Whether that's, you get a crazy car payment. Like if you start making a certain amount of money, oh yeah, now I can get this and I can get this car payment and I can do this. But it's like the reality. If you don't have a car payment, that's another $500, $600 a month that you can go into saving, that you can use to go do something you love. If you don't have to have such crazy car insurance on a car like that, if you're not going out to the bar and drinking and doing all these things, and, we get caught up in these lifestyles. And I don't give a shit if someone is going out and drinking. I've said that twice now in this episode. Do you? Okay. If that's what you enjoy doing, fucking do you. And that's what the beauty is do whatever the fuck you want to do. Have fun. Do the things that make you happy. And that's like what I've realized, that I've got caught up chasing things and doing things that I think I'm supposed to be doing. And realizing that even if I caught those things that I got doing the things that I don't necessarily enjoy or bring me fulfillment, I will never be happy. And then I'm just doing these things because it's working, and I've created a lifestyle that needs it. Which is why I realized I'm going to start I'm going to do more content with the things that I enjoy, whether that's hunting, fishing, working out, being a silly little goose, and just having fun. And that's what I want to do, is build the life that I want to live, and not necessarily be waiting to get to a certain place to enjoy it. I just been reflecting. It's weird. And I know this is a weird episode where I'm just getting weirdly stoic with everything. That's because your boy has a little bit of a mustache right now. And when I get a mustache, I start philosophizing. But even the little success that I've had, I start robbing myself of it and don't enjoy it, even though once I get to a certain place, I just go, man, yeah, that's cool. I make it a point to celebrate. Like whenever I've accomplished anything, whether it was even with jobs, like with running a video production company, if I got a job that paid decent and it was a work day where I actually went on set and produced and like we filmed stuff and did all that, my girl and I would go out to eat, because it was like, hey, like it's a work day. Let's fucking go eat. Just something silly like that. When I got the OFTV thing, boom, celebration when I got it. Okay, you got to celebrate little wins. But I feel like there's a lot where once you get these things, you just start berating yourself. Like you instantly are like, oh, well, I didn't do this and I do that and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, who gives a fuck what anybody else is doing? And I realize I get caught in that. It's a weird thing. Okay. And I always break it down, be like, I don't know if I really, I don't know. I just want to do the things I love and find a way to help people. Like, I enjoy talking to people and trying to help people. I've always enjoyed coaching and teaching. And it's just like, I just got to figure out how to do the things that give me fulfillment, and I enjoy doing more on a regular basis. And I think that's always just what we're working towards. And I love basic shit is what I'm also trying to say. I spent the weekend doing yard work, power washing my truck's wheels. Dude, listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't washed my truck since I've moved to Texas. That's over 2.5 goddamn years. All right. And you know what? Shout out to my baby. All right. That truck just keep trugging along for me. All right. Phenomenal truck. Okay. So I power washed the wheels. I was like, yeah, you deserve this, baby. All right. Been cleaning it up a little bit. All right. And you know what? I enjoy the heck out of it. All right. Mow the lawn. All right. Planning my little area for a garden. And it's because you got to take care of the things you got, and you have to enjoy it. You got to stay moving. Because you know what also? I don't necessarily like free time, is what I've also realized. And what I mean by free time, I'm not really good at staying home all day and just watching TV. I want to be doing something. I want to be moving. I want to be grooving. All right. I want to be accomplishing goals. I want to be just learning and doing things. All right. And you know what? It's Sunday right now. This episode's coming out tomorrow. I'm going to try my hardest to take the day off tomorrow. It's Labor Day. Okay. Which is a weird one. Is why do we celebrate Labor Day? Is Labor Day just the acknowledgement of all the hard work that people do? I think that's what it is. We're going to find out right now. Labor Day, why we celebrate Labor Day. It's always spooky when you just type why we and celebrate Labor Day comes up. America's laborers have shaped our country into what it is today. On Labor Day, we also honor the leaders of the American labor movement who courageously stood up against the exploitation of workers and demanded fair pay, better benefits, and safe working conditions for workers across America. If whoever came up with that knew what it was turning into, roll in their grave. All right. Listen, that's what's also crazy about the way things are now is labor pay and benefits and everything. It's always wild to me that like realtors now, they try to spin this thing saying that rates are still historically low. How stupid do you think people are when you're saying, listen, a 7% interest rate is great compared to, the late 90s when they were 19%. And, in the 80s, they were 20 something percent. Historically, these are great rates. But it's like, yeah, why don't we look at inflation and the cost of houses? Okay. Why don't we look at how expensive the house is with that interest rate and how much the housing market has gone up, the cost versus wages, how much wages have really gone up. It's pretty insane. I've really gone down a rabbit hole of looking at foods and stuff. Like I'm always trying to look into longevity and just try to be a better person. 1% better every day. 1% better every day. And like the foods we eat and the lack of minerals and vitamins that are in the veggies and just the way they make them, and then even factory farming and just the state of everything. And it's weird because I also look at the medical world. I know I've talked ad nauseum about this shit. The medical world, how corrupt everything is with insurance companies, Western medicine with pharmacology and these pharmaceutical companies. And none of it is set up for us to just thrive and not be reliant on these companies. They're all about making money. I was even listening to something earlier talking about how I don't want to bring up. No, we're not even going to talk about it. Fuck, we're going to talk about it. It'd be weird if I didn't now. But like the vaccines and stuff like that, and how they had to discredit all these other treatments that you could get for them to enact the Emergency Vaccine Act, where they could push it through, make it mandatory and stuff like that. Is the only way you can do that is if you discredit these other things that were generic medicines that were effective in treating it, but then they couldn't make money off of a vaccine, which is insane. Like the amount of vaccines and stuff like that, you have rise of all these different conditions and things people are dealing with due to these medications and all of that, which is insane. And also just the lack of knowledge of some of these medical professionals. I have someone really close to me that's dealing with a lot of medical problems, and hearing secondhand what are being told to this person with, oh, I don't know this doesn't cause that, and blah, blah, blah. And just the lack of knowledge, where if you even Google stuff that's on, like proven evidence. I'm not saying like, oh, but these people on Reddit are saying this. I'm talking about medical journals and everything that are saying complete opposite things of what these alleged professionals are saying in some of these medical fields. It's insanity, the lack of nutrition and the lack of just knowledge of scope of work and what's out there. I say the medical world, they're like, it's almost like there's people who are on the cutting edge, and there are very, very good people. I have to say that. But those people aren't getting boosted the way they should. Why? Because they aren't doing as well financially, because they're not doing the bidding of all these pharmaceutical companies and these insurance companies. The job is almost, honestly, a lot of doctors in Western medicine are almost brokering deals for pharmaceutical and insurance companies. Like that's all it almost seems like, is they're just brokering these deals. They're just being sales agents, for these bigger companies, because the way they're just trying to set people up. Oh, literally there's a weird parallel between trying to get someone on medication on a regular basis, turn someone into a user, as just like trying to sign some up for a plan for something you need, any kind of business. Oh, you should come get this service. These people, this fucking pest control. Well, guess what, bitch? I'm self-independent when it comes to pests. I can take care of the own pests on my property. All right. And I feel like that's also ironically the way you have to be with your own body and your own health is, don't become reliant on a system that doesn't have your best interest. I feel like food is medicine, and exercise, and drinking good water, and just all the bullshit that's around us that's like cultivating this world of reliance on a system. And almost like this system that we have is creating all these problems that need this system, whether it's the lack of nutrients in food and the cancer causing things in food, plastic and water bottles. Like, it's insane. I sound like a conspiracy theorist, but the theory's true. All right. I also understand that it could be overwhelming for a medical professional if they're some kind of doctor, whether they're especially a general, just like a primary, someone who's kind of, the ER doctors, they deal with emergency response. That's why we have different specialists that deal with different parts of the body. That's why I have nutritionists. That's why we have allergists, gastroenterologists, all these different practices within it, because it is this crazy scope. But here's what's also crazy on top of it. I feel like in the last 20 to 30 years, American factory farming and just the way we create food, all these processed foods and all these preservatives and everything that goes in it. I'm not a hippie. That's what's crazy about this. I don't want you to think I've gone off the rail and I'm living in a cabin, even though it looks very dark in here. Like I'm going to be having the tinfoil hat on. All of this stuff is creating new problems that we haven't even been dealing with. And then you have all these other issues that are on the rise from medications and vaccines that we didn't have these problems when a lot of these doctors went through medical school. So they have no realm. The field is always growing and evolving, but I don't think they're evolving at the rate the doctors are. That's why they always say you practice medicine. It's because you're always supposed to be practicing. You're always supposed to be getting better and evolving with it. I saw this one doctor a couple years ago who was Googling things, and we're like, oh, well, this could be a thing. This dude was on his way out. I was nice and I was respectful to him, but I was like, this dude is just saying some weird 90s doctors bullshit, because the world was probably different then, okay? And I'm sure he's a pioneer, I'm sure. And when he was going through medical school, he was so sharp and on top of his field. And it's just, the world moves on and things evolve, and we have to evolve with it. And that's no disrespect to the older generation. I feel like we get all this wisdom and knowledge from the older generation, and we should take that and grow upon it, okay? That's why, like if you ever look at like MMA, you look at the pioneers of the sport, you look at these early UFC champions, some of them were so good that they could survive in this era if you drop them into it. And here's the thing. If they came up in this era and they already had the previous era to build off of, they would probably be champions in this era as well. They wouldn't be left behind. They're so evolved because, the champions now, because of that previous era. Everything gets better and better with generations. And I feel like nothing's as true and more obvious than fighting. Like when you look at, some of these younger fighters coming up and the things they can do, these kids, it's insane. It's insane what little kids are doing in MMA gyms and with jiu-jitsu and everything. When you look back to even just like Royce Gracie, those days in the early UFC, you're like, this is a night and day different. If you would have seen some of these kids could go in there and just be leg locking some of these insane UFC fighters that were so strong back in the day because of the lack of knowledge. And that's what I feel like happens with the world, is things just move on like that. And the most blatant thing to me is you look at some of the presidential candidates and you look at just the situation of these politicians that are so fucking old. Okay, listen. Go retire, go hang out with your grandkids, go do something else, get into pottery. All right. You look at Mitch McConnell, the dude has been shutting down multiple times. I don't know if you saw the most recent one. They were asking him, they were like, hey, do you think you're going to run or you're going to continue to serve? And he just goes, doo-doo-doo. And then the lady has the audacity. They take care of him and he's like kind of coming to. And she's like, guys, speak louder. Oh yeah, that was the problem. It wasn't the problem that he just hit a hard factory reset and thought he was being born again. Okay. You ever seen someone when they say when kids spawn into consciousness and there's like, you're a little kid and all of a sudden you realize what's going on? He spawned out of it for a second. He just shut down. All right. Maybe these robots are solar powered. Okay. And they can only be indoors taking questions so many times. All right. But it blows my mind when you have some of these candidates that are just so old and so disconnected. Mike Pence, how the fuck is this guy running? The audacity. It has to be a money grab. Like, can you just make a certain amount of money by being a candidate? He can't really think that he's going to get elected. There's no way Mike Pence really thinks he's going to get elected. It's like, what is this? And what's crazy is there are candidates on both sides, and I'm like, I like RFK. I would love to see the system just done away with, and we build it with something that works and is better for the people. Because this system now is definitely not set up for the people. I like Vivek Ramaswamy. I think he's younger, and you can see it. You can see in the way he talks, and that he has a better beat on the current world, and he understands problems that Mike Pence and these older guys just don't understand. Do I think he's a little full of shit? You can kind of see it in the way he talks. He's a little too polished for my liking. If I was friends with him and he was talking to me that way, I'd be like, hey, you got to shut this down and be real with me for a second. I But I do like that he has business, experience and has built a business. I really do think, I like the way, I think it's Warren Buffett. He had this thing where he said, the way we fix politics is we make it contingent on results, that some of these politicians do not get paid unless they do the things that they say they're going to do, and government pay is based off of performance. If we did that, we would get the people who actually make a difference. I feel like that would be great. It's crazy to see the amount of wasteful spending that goes on. And as you can see, your boy is so deep in just figuring shit out right now. So wasteful, so much wasteful spending and committees and things that are just created just to keep people off of their back. Like, oh, let's create this committee. We're committed to, fixing this issue, but nothing ever gets done because it's just not, they don't need results. They just need, we need to get away. It's almost like ironically, because it was the generation who were all about participation trophies and blah, blah, blah. It's almost like politicians are just getting participation trophies. Oh, you tried. But it's like, nah, bitch, this is the whole generation that was saying participation trophies were bad. Let's let the free market decide. If you do a good job and you do well, you should get paid for it. All right? If you want to be a public servant, I feel like we need to put so many barometers in place and, protections to stop corruption, where you can't make all this money from insider trading. You can't make all these deals and somehow end up on a board of a company that you helped out while you were in office and you're making now $300,000 a year, even though you're not doing anything for them and you have no specialty in it. There's so much corruption that happens where we need to put it, let's make this performance based. Dude, if you, run for a certain state and you actually help their finances, yeah, take a little commish off the top of that. All right. I don't give a shit with that. I think that would be a perfect business model, is to make things performance based. I think even do that with life, with the open market. There's some places that are kind of like that. If you look at trading, like stocks and all of that, you can make a percentage of the sell and things like that. There are those straightforward markets. But even so right now, I'm still in this situation with I can't talk about it. I don't even know if I'll talk about it on the podcast. So my business with video production and marketing, I've been in talks with this very big company in Austin for well over a month now. And the situation is they've wanted me to be an employee of their company and, head their marketing and do all their social media and content and all this stuff. And it's a huge company, huge $1 billion company. And it would be an insane position for me. The fact that they found me and would want me to come in and do it, maybe it would be good for stand-up also because I could be in content and do certain things. But the truth is they want me to be a full-time employee. Yeah, boy, don't work like that. For one, I have other clients and I refuse to trade my time for money. You got to know your value and your worth. And I've always been someone who puts, at least to the best I try. I'm not perfect. I always try to stick by my word and my morals and my beliefs. That is, I've made those sacrifices. I was talking to a buddy the other day. I got the opportunity last year to go, I think it was the beginning of last year, to go to Bora Bora for a 10-day retreat, all expense paid, to film a retreat that was happening. I would get paid to go to Bora Bora for 10 days and be in one of the little huts. I was going to bring my wife and it was going to be this amazing thing. And I was going to come out of it with money and, get paid for it, which was mind blowing. Got my passport and everything. And then it came to the point of, they were like, you got to get the vaccine if you want to go to Bora Bora. I've been talking about the vaccine and saying that I didn't want to get it for so long. And I had to pass up on this insane opportunity of going to Bora Bora for 10 days because of it. Because I was just like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to play this game, this requirement. So I had to pass on it. And it's the same thing with what's happening now. I've been trying to convince this company of being like, I'm not going to be your full-time employee because I don't believe in hourly wages. I think I'm a performance-based person. I think I should get paid what my value is and what I can provide. If I give you a certain deliverable and it took me only an hour to do it, but I could milk it and another employee might take 4 hours because they don't work as efficiently as me, why would I get paid less if I can do this work in 1 hour that takes someone 4 hours because I've developed efficient systems? Why would I do that? Because then you're going to get 4 times as much output from me, but I'm not going to get compensated for that. And I'm going to burn out because I'm working so hard to deliver these deliverables, but it's not going to be worth it. And that's what I think is wrong with a lot of business and just even the mindset of hourly employees. Pay people what they're worth, pay people what they deserve, and all that going back into Labor Day. I think it's insane, the current workforce. I go to a place that has hourly workers and you don't see the oomph. You don't see, every now and then you'll see someone working hard and you're like, fucking stick with it, kid. But you don't see the motivation. You don't see any of the drive. And it's because they're doing stuff that isn't challenging them. They get paid the same hourly, whether they try their hardest or they don't try at all. And that's usually, it burns out some people because they have to pick up the slack of all the other workers around them, but they're not getting compensated for that. The management demands more of them because they're actually getting stuff done. And these slackers they get the same and they never have to, deal with it, because if they get fired, I can complain, I was discriminated against and blah, blah, blah. They always find a way. And I think if we really want to celebrate Labor Day, work hard, celebrate the people who actually work, who are laboring to build a life, a business, the life they want, and just doing what they want to do and providing value. So, dude, you see some of these, the migrant workers, dude, the backbone of America. They're some of the hardest working people that never get the credit they deserve, the respect that they deserve. It's insane. The people who really make this country go around. It's crazy. It's crazy. So go out, thank someone who works hard. All right. Give someone their due. If you work hard, you fucking celebrate it tomorrow. All right. Watch me get shut down the podcast next week because I took a position with this company. No, I told them I would work with them. I'd give them deliverables, but I'm my own man, baby. You can't make me an employee. All right. And that's what I think golden handcuffs are, is because you become too dependent. That's also the other thing, is like you got to spread yourself and have multiple streams and be able to adapt, because, man, I think that's how a business can get you, is if they become your sole, way of making money. And I know there's a lot of great companies to work for, and this company in particular is probably one of the best. If I was ever going to take a regular paycheck and work for a company, this might be one of them, okay? Because I do like everything they do, which is why I'm willing to work with them. Damn, did we just lose recording? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I think I lost the audio, but thank you for listening. Remember, no matter what, have a good Labor Day, all right? And I'll see you next week. And remember, no matter what, I still love you.